30 seconds. You donated your minute and a half.
Hi, my name is Cindy Warrenbrock, and when I came to fill this out, I noticed that it says the role, and I have lived here forever. I graduated from Bishop Union High School, and I'm a grandparent to kids that go to this school. I'm hoping that online you ask them the same questions if they are a community member and how they are tied to this community. Thank you.
Hello everybody. My name is Jessica Sharkey. I'm a 4th grade teacher here at Bishop Elementary, as well as the newly appointed Bishop Teacher Association president. I know that the past 18 months have been very difficult for our students, our families, the teachers, the staff. At the beginning of summer, most of us hoped for a more normal school year. As cases have risen in the country through the summer, we kind of find ourselves having to discuss this again, the need to follow the mitigation measures. Is that my time? With current case counts, the state of California has mandated that we are to wear masks inside the classroom. We were able to mostly stay open October through June during the pandemic last year by following these guidelines that they had on place in masking and distancing. Our schools proved to be a place where widespread transmission did not happen when we followed these measures for the most part. As teachers, we know the urgency of staying open every single day of this school year to help our students make the most of their learning. Last year, we saw difficulties when classes had to quarantine and be on distance learning. If mask wearing is not required, there might be a greater risk of infection, quarantines, and absences that our kids cannot do. We won't be wearing masks forever. Mask wearing is a temporary measure. Last year, students rarely complained about wearing masks. They wore them consistently. For many teachers and students, it was the first time we really did not catch a cold or the flu. At this time, we need to support our district in complying with the state requirement. It's a state law, and not following it could result in fines or penalties for our district, which then takes money away from our students. It was a decision made by the state level. Enforcement of the rule will be done with compassion as it was enforced last year. We can get through this together. Teachers are excited for the first day of school when we can see our students walk through the doors and be in our classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Stephen Winsenreed. I'm a parent in this community and a community member. Sorry, I'm tall. Stephen Winsenreed, community member and parent in this community. I've lived here almost my entire life. I hear a lot about, this is the law. It's a mandate, it is not a law. Provide the statutory authority that says you have to wear a mask. I want to hear the statutory authority. Give me the line, verse, and code from law that says this is statutorily required. It's a mandate. Don't give me that it's law. That's a lie.
I'm a retired teacher. I'm a grandmother of children in this district. I am very concerned at the possibility that the schools could wind up closing again. I watched my granddaughter, who was living with me at the time, try to learn through the Zoom process. It was extremely difficult. She was extremely distracted. So I'm excited at the possibility of being back, the children being back in the schools. But in order to keep those schools open, I think the safest way to do it and make sure our children are safe is to require that everybody be masked.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Lonnie Lovinger.
Thank you.
I'm a retired pediatric dentist. I practiced for 42 years. Every day putting on gloves and masks. I was also a member of the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry and the California Pediatric Dentistry, Academy of Pediatrics. A couple quick things. First of all, if you look at a serious scientific virology lab, They show up into a dressing room, change their clothes. They're not going to take that stuff home to their family. Put on their scrubs. Those scrubs have been autoclaved, not just washed with hot water. They don an outfit that looks very much like a nitrix diving suit, helmet, mask. They're wearing a self-contained compressed air breathing apparatus or fed through a tube. They tape up all the joints of that. They tape up the clothes. They tape up the gloves next to them. They get sprayed down with disinfectants going through a little prep room. And then they do it in reverse, going back out. Those experts can't prevent the escape of viruses. What makes us think that in our schools that we're going to be able to make a big difference? Even Tony Fauci, Dr. Fauci, when asked a very specific question, is the mask going to protect you? Obviously, when that question is very specific, it's very little. Now, does it protect the people around him? It can. In fact, I love wearing them. They were great. I'd be looking over at some kid. I didn't have to worry about snot on my nose or food on my lip. But it protected particulate debris. But does it protect you? This virus is one that resides on the very moisture in the air that we're breathing. And if you're able to breathe, you can contract that. But does it look good? Yes, in a minute. With all due respect, for a board to come in and present the slides and go through that tactic of trying to sway the public can be very misleading. With all due respect, we don't have time to go through those slides point by point. But they generally make the same mistake. I receive Center for Disease Control regular newsletters. And forgive me here because I'm kind of nervous in front of everybody. But yes, I would read what diseases are going around, how we should respond accordingly. The Center for Disease Control provides guidelines. And somewhere at the top of the level, those guidelines all of a sudden becoming regulations. And your slides keep bouncing between guides, guidelines, and transferring that to requirement. Somewhere along the line from the top to the bottom, those guidelines are becoming requirements. Now someday, we're going to have a virus or bacteria that has an extremely high virulence and an extremely high pathogenicity. Right now, we don't have that. And we're starting to lose respect for the very body, the Center for Disease Control, that should be protecting us all. When these things become political, they're losing credibility. We're reaching a point where if we have a disease that has the virulence of hepatitis and will last on a surface for...
The 2 minutes are over.
Okay, well, the ones before me only took about 30 seconds, so let me grab a couple quick ones of those.
The time was donated from the next speaker. 5 seconds.
Actually, I didn't even come prepared to talk, so I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone. I'll ask your...
Thank you. Before I start, I just want to reiterate that these meetings can be contentious, but we need to continue to be respectful so everyone can be heard. Thank you, board. Thank you for everyone coming. Josh Nicholson, parent, community member. Let's start with some common ground. We're all here because we want to see our children be healthy and thrive. We all have diverse ways of seeing that being accomplished. Today we are here because our politicians want to place masks on our children. There are some commercial mask boxes that state they will not provide any protection against coronavirus or other viruses or contaminants. The expectation of a mask blocking COVID-19 is similar to the expectation of a chain link fence stopping a mosquito. If they don't work, and people know this, the masks are no longer masks, they are muzzles. This leads me to believe proponents of muzzling children are either controlled by fear or ignorance. I believe it to be the former. I truly feel sorry for those who let fear control your lives to the point you would wear and place a mask on a child. Fear is being pushed by the same people who want to muzzle children again. These are the same people who had their children at in-person private school while mandating public school kids attend online. The same people who ignore their own mandate while eating at a restaurant. The same people who praise Andrew Cuomo for doing such a good job knowing all along he was accused of sexual assault by multiple women. The same people who have released thousands of violent criminals all in the name of safety. I could go on, but I hope you get the point. Credibility and trust with public health officials are completely dead. For proponents of muzzling children, I strongly suspect you have never been to a third world country where an oppressive dictator forced their tyrannical rules on everyone, especially children. From my viewpoint, sadly, there is a very real comparison between our children's demeanor and their spirit when wearing these muzzles to the children having been oppressed by the former dictator Saddam Hussein. Understand, I've witnessed both firsthand. Proponents of muzzling children will, muzzling children with masks will say they are keeping, last thought, seal it in. I timed this earlier, it was like 2:05. Oh, sorry. Proponents of muzzling children with masks will say they are keeping our children and community safe. Prop 47 was labeled Safe Neighborhoods and School Act. I can tell you from experience this proposition was the opposite. It decreased penalties, increased crime, empowered criminals and predators, made our children's future less safe and secure. And this is the same with masking children, all in the false name of safety. Last thought. I urge this board to side with children's health and welfare and make wearing masks optional, a personal choice. Parents, if the majority of the board don't support your children, I do. I urge you to either send your children to school without masks under the medical and mental health exemptions listed on the California Public Health Officer's guidance for the use of masks, or to unenroll them and figure out a way to educate them yourself. You won't regret it.